of these strategies are grade 8 girls using in their status updates? And second, how and why are grade 8 girls using their status updates more broadly? I used a mixed methods approach, and 349 surveys, 9 interviews and 445 status updates later, I had some answers. I collected updates ranging from long weekend, yay, to piss off, to how do people just have sex with complete strangers? I can't even order pizza over the phone. And I coded these status updates according to the strategies these girls were using to present themselves. While you would expect that bullying and attention seeking would rate highly, they didn't. Girls most commonly presented themselves as likeable by using flattery and compliments. And this is exactly what happens in offline settings. You see, girls need to maintain synergy between their online and offline identities. Why? Because everything you say on Facebook can be used against you in the court of social approval. When I asked the girls why they updated their own statuses, they said, oh, just to let other people know what I'm doing if I'm bored. But when I asked them why other people updated their statuses, they said, she'll just do anything to get attention. She just wants the boys to like her. This might explain why more than 30% of the girls in my study reported updating their statuses at least once per day. Because status updates will be interpreted differently by every audience member, identities are in a constant state of flux. Identity becomes less a question of, who am I? And more a question of, what do you see in me? What do you want in me? My research challenges the fearful notion of an authentic offline identity and an inauthentic online identity. It shows that, like the classroom, Facebook is just another space for girls to experiment with their identities and gauge the reactions of others. So, if there's one message we should be sending to grade 8 girls on Facebook, know your audience. Thank you.
What about that? What about that one? So we do see that she used sex, but she used it in an appropriate context for her research.
She had a really relatable story. I mean, everyone knows about Facebook and how ridiculous some people's posts are, so you can automatically picture a person and relate to it.
She also at the end talks about why her research is significant. So she's telling you about Facebook and status updates and grade 8 girls, and then she talks about this, you know, their online versus their offline personalities and how they're trying to maintain that dichotomy. What else did you guys think? Go ahead.
Her tone is very conversational but engaged, and she seemed like genuinely excited about the research herself, which is exciting to watch. It's more interesting to watch her.
What did you guys think about her hand gestures? Do you think they were too much, about right, kind of? What do you think?
They're about right.
Anything else?
Oh, Ben has one.
Go ahead.
She used the most powerful tool that we own to open a dialogue at the very beginning, and it was just a simple smile. And it's that simple connection, and everybody gets in.
I have never thought that. That's a really, really great point. So don't forget to smile. Yes, ma'am.
So when she said, she alluded to studying all these participants, hundreds of participants, looking at all these different factors. So she didn't really have to go into the details of explaining her experimental design, but you were convinced that even though you were getting the broad brush, she had done a lot of work. That it wasn't just, an anecdotal thing. The research was there, but she didn't have to explain the details to you. And I really liked that approach. And one of the, golly, I think it was John Klein from last year, did the same thing. Yeah.
Said after hundreds of something and way too much statistical data, I came up with my answer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
And that gives credibility to your research. All right, so another lovely sheet in there is the timeline. So I put this together for you, and it kind of gives you week by week, starting on February 9th. so 2 weeks from now, or 1.5 weeks from now, of what you should be doing every single week to prepare for this. The things that I really want to highlight is we have 2 more training sessions that'll cover the same information next Monday, next Tuesday. If you want to come to the other ones, you are more than welcome to, but they cover the same information, so don't feel like you have to. During the last week of February, we have 2 faculty members from theater department. Ben Anderson is here with us tonight, who have
Alexander.
generously,
Alexander.
have very generously volunteered to let you practice in front of them. And so this is the one practice session that you must attend. And you can either attend it with Ben or you can attend it with Bob. And so once I have their schedules, I'll send it out to you guys and you guys will get to pick. You must attend a practice session with them in order to present at the preliminary heats. Everybody got that? Okay. Those are one of the 2 requirements that you have to do. Your slides for the prelims will be due March 1st to 3mrp@nau.edu. I'm the one who checks that email, so you'll be sending it to me. And I'll send out the slide template to everyone who attends the training sessions. You'll get the slide template so you can start working on your slides. Preliminary heats are going to be the week before spring break, and depending on how many people actually attend the training session and the practice session, that'll determine how many heats we have. And you'll be randomly placed in those heats. Don't worry, we won't do them the Friday before spring break, but it'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and possibly Thursday. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then we'll notify you that next week, if not over the weekend, who the finalists are. And then beyond that, that's more for the finalists. What I really encourage you to do is go ahead and start scheduling your time with your research librarians if you haven't already met with them. Go ahead and start scheduling your time to practice in the studios. You can reserve this room, as well as there are 2, if not 3 other practice rooms where you can record yourself. There's a computer right there so you can watch yourself play back like immediately. And they're really, really nice rooms, and they're great. So really think about scheduling that. As you move into the end of March, we really encourage you to start recording and seeing what you look like. And then April 6th is when the final presentations are. And for those of you who make it to the finals, we will let you revise your slide and resubmit it. Any questions about the timeline? Yes?
It's not really about the timeline, but is it the same number of finalists this year, even though there's a different number of applicants?
We'll see. We really will see. 12 was a bit much last year. I'd like to shoot for 10. However, that's what we were shooting for last year, but we had 2 people that were really just right there with the people, and so we decided to include them. So the number of finalists will depend. Any other questions?
Yeah, so how long will the final last?
We have it scheduled from 3 to 5:30. I don't think it'll take that long. Last year it was right at 2 hours, so we hope to keep it right at 2 hours. Because we've got the people presenting, then the judges need a little time between each of the presentations, and then we have the reception while the judges go downstairs and figure out who should win.
And the preliminary heat?
The preliminary heats, I think we did those in like an hour and a half when we did it. Now we do have way more than we did last year, but it'll be pretty quick where you come in, you do your 3-minute presentation, the judges have a little time, and then we move on to the next. And I think I did it in 10-minute blocks last year. Yes?
Are the heats open, or is it just with the judges? Like, is it to the audience, or is it just to the?
Yeah, it's open.
It's open, but I don't really, did anybody come last year? Yeah, people came,
Yeah,
so.
people came, so you can have your fan base come. And then when you're done, you can leave, because we do it, but once we close the door, it's like they're ready to go, we don't open the door.
Right.
Yeah.
And they will be in this room, so I encourage you to practice in this room so you feel comfortable with it. Any other questions?
So
Yes.
for the preliminary, you don't have to sit through for everyone else's?
No.
I thought that's what we did last year.
But you can, but you don't have to sit in the room and watch everyone else. For some people, that makes them extremely anxious. So you can get up and leave and stuff.
It's just important that
You're here on
you're here.
Yeah, so get here early and make sure you're here, and then you can.
Is it gonna be like, because that's
schedule, like you have to be here at this time during that meeting?
And I think the way that I had it phrased last year is you need to be there at the start. You don't have to be in the room, but you need to be here at the start. And then there's specific time slots. And if you're not here when it's your time slot, you're kind of out of luck. Yes?
But you also asked us like what day worked better, like to work down classes.
Yeah, we do try, we know you guys have busy schedules, so we try to accommodate that. However, do know that the preliminary heats will be during the day. So just keep that in mind. And I think you had a question at the back.
Same question.
Okay,
But we
great.
will take classes and stuff into consideration, of course. The job at Smashburger, maybe not. But the classes, yes, we will take, we'll take into consideration.
Any other questions? Okay, so as I was sitting here while Dr. Short was talking, I was thinking, I should really change that picture. I have a 3-year-old, and she is obsessed with what she calls the Chewie Star Wars movie, which is the 6th one with the Ewoks, but she thinks of them as mini Chewies, and I was like, I got to change this picture. So that picture may be changed. But it drew your attention, didn't it? How many of you were like, oh, that's not a real Star Wars movie? So with your slide, less is more. And I really encourage you guys to watch. I have a whole bunch of links to other universities with their videos from their winners. Take a look at their slides. Some of them are really, really basic, and yet they really get the point across. So really just think about less is more. The research librarians are here to help you with your research slide and to give you feedback on it. So I encourage you to use them as a resource. We didn't really see the slide with the Facebook one, but we saw the slide with the mini guts, and you saw the different pictures, and they zoomed in on that. And she had a good slide with enough space filled, because you also don't want to have too much white space, but just kind of think about balance and less is more with your slide. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up, so when you guys submitted your form, you had the field for the topic of, like, your title of your research, and then the 3MRP title. A lot of them were the same, and they shouldn't be the same. Your 3MRP title should be something catchy. It can be a question. It can be just a few words. But it needs to be something that's going to draw your audience in, because they're going to see that title. We will have a slide for each of you that gives, your name, your program, your department, and then your major advisor, and then you'll have your slides. You don't have to put your title on your slide, but it will be on that title slide. So make sure that it's something catchy and that your audience is already going to be thinking, I wonder what they're going to present. Same with your image. Something catchy, so they look at it and they're like, wow, I'm really interested in that. Any questions about the slide? And I'll send out a slide template, and you just have to complete it and then email it back to me. Yes?
Should the slide have the title on it?
It doesn't have to. It's up to you. And we had some last year that did it and some last year that did not. So it's really up to you and how it kind of goes with your individual project. Anything else? Yes?
Considering, based on what you're saying, it sounds like we might be able to resubmit the titles of the actual presentation.
Oh yes,
Is there a time
you
need
definitely, please do. But you don't have to submit it until the slide, but yes, feel free to change your titles. Yes. Anything else? Not that they were boring, I was just like, come on guys, we'll catch you. Yes?
I have a question that I maybe should have asked earlier. How do we find our research librarian?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. So, any more questions about the slide? So, I have also included 2 other handouts. One is the 3-minute research presentation resources, and then making the most of your 3 minutes. This has a whole bunch of hyperlinks, which are also here. And the research librarians are divided up by discipline. So you'll click on the link, and then it'll show you which research librarian is yours by discipline. It also has links to information about the studios, how to request to reserve the studio, how to request equipment, and all of that's there. And then these are some examples of presentations, which are also available on our website right now. And then these are some other great links. And then I have some more in here too under resources for your presentation.
And this PowerPoint's on the website, so all the links are right there.
So, nobody wants to know about prize money? Really? So it's on the back of your sheet. First prize is $1,000. Second prize is $500. Third prize is $250, and then People's Choice is $250. Yes.
Are there any limitations to what we could use it for? Like, does it have to go to research costs, or can it go to?
So what we did last year is we applied it towards your account. What we would like to do this year is exactly that, is allow you to use it for travel funds towards a conference or funds towards your research. And we are trying to figure out the best way to do that to benefit you guys. So we're hoping to be able to find a solution to that. So you could use it to travel to a conference, or you could use it for your research.
What about travel to Twin Arrows? That doesn't count as,
Yes.
What if we're done with our research and don't need to go to another conference and are going to graduate soon?
Then you just get that money. Well, you get that money on your account. And then if
I don't understand, in your account.
on your NAU account. So if you had like tuition and fees, then it would be associated towards that or put towards that. But if it's not,
Would be reimbursement. Thanks. Thanks.
anything else? I have 5 more minutes left before the next group. Yes.
So this is a general kind of question. Some of us, I imagine, especially since there's so many people coming from natural sciences, might be dealing with topics that are controversial, just because, like, so climate change issues, environmental issues that are politically charged, even if in a scientific and academic community, we don't feel that they are politically, or they're not scientifically questionable, even if they're politically questionable. Do you have any guidance for how to deal with that, to acknowledge that the audience may not believe this, and, you know, do you have any ideas on?
That's an excellent question.
It is an excellent question. I co-taught a course in communicating science. And a big part of what we talked about was communicating topics where there's at least the perception of controversy. And, you know, my stance on that as a scientist is that the perception of controversy with respect to topics like climate science is a perception, but it's invalid. Because when 99% of the peer-reviewed literature in a discipline points to an answer, having people around the edges throw pseudoscience at it and say, well, you can't prove it. Well, yeah, because it's, you know, science. That does not make it a true controversy. So if you are dealing with a topic like that, like, for example, another example might be vaccinations and the benefits of vaccination program, herd immunity. I don't know what y'all are working on, but I would just go with it. You know, I would go with it. I wouldn't say anything derogatory about naysayers or, you know, the celebrities who say that vaccinations will cause autism in your children. I wouldn't say anything negative about them, but I wouldn't respect their opinion in a verbal, I wouldn't let that take up my presentation time.
Yeah, and if I could jump on that as a performance artist, I've done stuff that could be seen as offensive on stage with some of my collaborators. And my thought is exactly what Mary Beth is saying, is that you're presenting this as your research and you're finding answers to questions. You're not disparaging other people for having opinions that might disagree with you. So if you're always bringing it from that point of, these are the questions I'm looking, these are the answers I'm seeking out, and this is what my research is involved, without saying, and everyone else who disagrees with me is an idiot. As long as you're making sure that it's about that and not about the other thing, I think it's very hard to offend because you're not disparaging anyone. You're simply saying, this is what I'm doing. And I think that's an important approach. I never want to say avoid you know, we had to talk about this. I'm like, oh, I don't like that no sex politics or blah. I'm like, I'm all about that. I want to see more of that, you know, but again, in a respectful way that, you know, we are a public university and we have to respect the diversity of our audiences. But again, you're not disparaging anyone, but this is what you're doing and these are the answers you're seeking out. I think that is a great way of going about it. Is that good for you in the science? I'm
Absolutely.
speaking it from performance artists, so.
Anything else really quick? All right, where is the sign-in sheet? Did everybody sign in? No?
You
Okay.
need to get credit for this, so sign in.
So we're gonna do this out in the hall because unfortunately there's another group